Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to our second little product tour stream here at Roll. I'm Elle, the CEO here at Roll, and today we are going to be looking at how to set up your first D&D game on Roll. We're also going to go through some of the exciting new additions that we just released this week that make your D&D game easier than ever on our platform. And then once we've kind of gone through everything D&D and 5e related, we're also going to take a quick look at the Homeworld room we also launched recently in collaboration with Modifius. So we have a lot of really great stuff to show today, and I hope you're excited as much as we are to continue to make Roll the easiest place to run your next RPG. So let's get started. All right. Here's your dashboard, obviously. So when you're logged into Roll, the first thing you're going to see is your games dashboard. And we have a number of featured games here that is ever expanding. And these represent starter rooms that we have curated ourselves to make starting your own game, again, as easy as possible. Now, you can always, of course, create a blank room using the new room button up here in the corner. But for the sake of today's demonstration, we're really talking about getting into the action of running your next 5e game as easily as possible with as minimal prep as possible and making sure the tools are good for you. Hang on a second. I'm getting a little feedback that my audio is a little quiet. I am at maximum volume on my microphone, so I'm just going to have to talk louder. Apparently my dog in the background is doing a lot of the talking for me right now. So anyway, let's dive in. So like I said, the goal here is to show you how to get your D&D game started as quickly and easily as possible. Oh, great. Glad it's coming through fine for the rest of you. We're just going to continue. Thank you for that feedback. All right. So you're going to see here on your dashboard, there are actually two 5e rooms here on Roll. There is our default Dungeons and Dragons room, and then there is our Cabin in the Glade starter adventure room. So we'll get to the Cabin in the Glade one in a moment, but let's just start with our basic D&D room. So again, this room kind of is built with the presumption that you're already familiar with D&D to a certain extent, and you have content that you're looking to run or a game you're looking to put together. So let's see here. You click this, start playing. It's going to bring up a modal. You're going to give your D&D room a name. We're going to call this Dungeon Adventure Go! Exclamation point. We're going to click create. We're going to, of course, if we want to, we can invite our party using either this link here or, of course, their email addresses. So you can invite your players to the room. Now, in this case, of course, we're just going to skip right past that and just dive right into the room itself. And so that y'all can see my face, we're going to start the room so you can see me on video here. Hello. Hi, everybody. Okay, cool. So you'll see here, of course, we have our beautiful D&D 5e room themed to evoke the mood of your next potential Dungeons & Dragons campaign. So as always, we have a batch of pre-gen characters that your players can pick from if they don't want to create their own from scratch. They can click on any of these and say view, and they can go through and look at the whole sheet and pick a character they'd like to play. They can, of course, start a new sheet if they would rather start a character from scratch. But one of the features that I'm really excited to show you today that we just launched this week is our support for your D&D Beyond characters. This is something that we've had a lot of people ask about for quite some time, and we are very excited to deliver this to you. And just like everything on Roll, we strive to make this as easy as possible. So you get into your D&D room, and you're going to see here on the journal at the bottom here, you're going to see import from D&D Beyond. And it's going to say enter your character sheet URL or ID. Now, I'm going to go over here to my D&D Beyond character. This is my Tabaxi Ranger that I play in my main D&D campaign. And all you have to do, it's real simple. You can either copy the entire URL up here at the top, or you can copy just those numbers at the end, which is your sheet ID number. Either one will work. In this case, I'm going to copy the whole URL. And the only thing you have to make sure that you do on the D&D Beyond side is make sure that your character is set to public. If your character is set to private, and therefore other people can't view it, it will not load into Roll. So again, make sure it's set to public, but besides that, all you need to do is copy that, go over here, paste it in, and say add new sheet. And wait a second, and huzzah! There it is. There's my D&D character right there in Roll. Amazing. And so this loads it all up for you, and the view is pretty much identical to what you would be used to in the mobile app for D&D Beyond. So you can click here, you can go to your skills, you can go to your actions. You could, of course, review any of this stuff, open up your items and your attuned gear. You can go and review your spells if you'd like. And so you have all this great stuff in here that you can check out. Now, some of the interactive actions on your sheet are limited because the sheet is set to a read-only mode. That is, unfortunately, one of the restrictions of our ability to pull that in. And so what we've added here is you can pull, reference this sheet as much as you'd like. We have a button down here at the bottom, Open D&D Beyond, which when you click it, it will open the sheet full screen in another tab if you don't have it open already. Now, clearly I already had it open in another tab, so I didn't necessarily need to do that. But the way that we recommend it working for players is that you, of course, have your character sheet here while you play. You're going to be referencing it 99% of the time just to, check your stats, check your gear, check your items, all those sorts of things. And then if you have to make any sort of meaningful permanent changes to your character sheet, just click that Open D&D Beyond button and keep your full sheet open in another tab where you can make those edits and then quickly snap back to the adventure. Now, of course, this is just the beginning. This is just our first pass at a D&D Beyond integration. We're super excited about it. And we look forward to all of you playing with it and giving us your feedback so that we can continue to make improvements to, again, make Roll the easiest place to run your D&D games. And what else is really cool is just because you've imported your D&D Beyond sheet doesn't necessarily mean that you can't also then use Roll sheets. So you can see that little plus button up top, right? You can click that and you have access, again, right back to the journal view. So you could say, I'm going to add another pre-gen character here. Maybe you want to load them up as an NPC or something like that. You can also just say, I want to start a new sheet. You could, of course, load one of your many custom sheets. So again, like for me, I have like an initiative tracker and stuff that I like to use. There it is, my encounter tracker. So I could say like, oh, okay, now I've got my encounter tracker and my D&D Beyond sheet, which of course, it takes a second to refresh, but there it is. Got my D&D Beyond sheet here in one tab. Got my encounter tracker in another. So again, as both a player and a game master, you can expand your journal in the room to contain sheets for anything you need while you play. Your D&D Beyond sheet is just one component of potentially many. So again, don't feel like just because you've loaded your D&D Beyond sheet, you can't also use your many Roll sheets to augment play. And so that's all that right there. That is literally the long and short of how easy it is to get your D&D Beyond character loaded into Roll. And like I said, we really look forward to you all using it and trying it and giving us your honest feedback of how it's gone for you so that we can continue to make improvements as we work on our platform. So another really cool thing I want to show you today for, again, running your D&D games on Roll. Now, most people know, if you're familiar with our platform and have used it before, that we really cater towards a people-first experience, right? Video is front and center in everything we do. We really want you to be able to stare and look at your players in the eye and have those joyful interactions, laugh and storytell together. We really believe that role-playing games are at some of their most potent and wonderful when we are seeing the faces of our players and sharing that intimate storytelling experience. And because of that, we really try to streamline some of the other gameplay elements. And of course, for a game like D&D, and not just D&D, maybe just many other RPGs. Oh, apologies. My dog is very excited. Everybody say hello to Mochi, my little pug dog who has decided that now is her time to howl at the moon, apparently. Well, anyway, as I was saying, we often get, feedback sometimes that for games like D&D or many other role-playing games that have more tactical encounters, tactical combat, people want maps. Now, Roll has map functionality, but our map functionality is intentionally minimal, right? We try to keep it very streamlined to just loading an image, moving a couple of tokens around, drawing on the image. And we know that people sometimes require more. Now, what do you do if you want to add that to your game as well, but you don't want to leave your roll window? Well, that's why we've introduced screen share. So down here at the bottom of your video controls, if you are the game master and host of the room, you can click share screen. It's going to bring up this little thing here. You can share your whole screen, you can share another window, or you can just share another Chrome tab without even leaving this view. So I have Owlbear Rodeo already open in another tab. I'm going to click share. It's going to show me that I've got it. And when we go back to my room, look at that. Owlbear Rodeo also running in roll. One of our engineers at the company, Danny, is fond of asking the question, will it embed when we look at other companion apps to play with our game? And in this case, D&D Beyond and Owlbear Rodeo, will it embed? Yes, yes it does. And so, as you can see, Owlbear Rodeo fully loaded up here in the screen share. As a game master, I can be going around here and I can be moving my players' tokens around, doing all the different things I want to do. I can, of course, stop sharing at any time. I can use this tool to my heart's content, and all my players can see that for reference as we play. You may want to have that open in a background tab. You may have it open in another window or another screen if you're like a power GM with many monitors, or if you're somebody like me with like a ludicrously wide monitor. I'm sure many of the experienced GMs watching this stream are probably quite used to the many windows experience of running a game. But again, our goal is that, especially for your players, when they get into the room, they shouldn't even have to ever like leave this screen. They should be able to say like, this is awesome. I've got my D&D Beyond character over here. I'm looking at the map over here. Again, you can use whatever map tool you'd like because screen share is just going to share whatever visual you'd like to share. We recommend Owlbear Rodeo. We're a huge fan of their software. If you haven't tried it out, it is, we like to say that it is as easy to use of a map tool as we are as easy to use a video tool. And so please check them out if you haven't already. So again, with all these components, we hope that this is really covering the basic needs of anything you would need to run a D&D game and minimizing the amount of prep and head scratching and legwork you have to do as a DM to get your players set up and ready to go. But what if you are a new or inexperienced GM, or what if you're even an experienced GM and you're just looking for a low stress, really low prep way to just have an adventure with friends? What do? Well, we can go back to our dashboard here and we can go check out Cabin in the Glade. So we launched this week as well. Cabin in the Glade is an original 5e adventure created here at Roll. It is 100% free, so you don't have to pay a dime. You can jump in with your friends and you can play Cabin in the Glade and get your party started on their first 5e adventure right away. So if you click on the Cabin in the Glade starter room and say start playing, let's say my first D&D game, and we create this. And of course we have that same invite flow. We're just going to close that out for this time. And you'll notice this room looks a little bit different because we have themed it to match the Cabin in the Glade adventure. Now, we're particularly proud of everything that we've built for Cabin in the Glade to really, again, help make it as minimal prep, if even no prep as possible. So we, of course, still have your support for D&D Beyond sheets. I would love to note, actually, that this import from D&D Beyond functionality is available in every room on Roll, not just the D&D specific ones. So if you create a blank room, a custom room, if you have a room that you were using for something else that you've decided to customize into a D&D room, the D&D Beyond sheet import function is available to you everywhere. You do not have to just boot up the D&D or Cabin in the Glade room to have access to it. If you can't find it, you may have to either scroll down, or sometimes in certain rooms it is actually behind the custom tab, depending on the information that is also there in the room. But like I said, it is there for you in every room. So we're here in our Cabin in the Glade room, and you'll notice we have a whole roster of starter characters. So again, your players could import a D&D Beyond character, but let's presume for the moment that this is a group of completely new, inexperienced players who have barely played D&D before and haven't done any character creation and just want to dive in. We have all these characters fully prepped for them that they can play, and each of these characters have been intentionally crafted and balanced for the adventure that we also have here. Not to say that you couldn't bring your own custom characters, because of course you can, but these characters have been built for this adventure. So you'll notice that in addition to all these characters, we also have Cabin in the Glade Part 1 and Cabin in the Glade Part 2, because Cabin in the Glade is designed to be a two-part adventure. That means it could either be one really long marathon session or you could run it over 2 sessions as like a little short 2-part micro campaign, something to get your party started before they go off into the grand wilderness, of Greymount or Exandria or your favorite D&D world. And so you'll notice for these, as a GM, you come in here and you can click view. And we have, I'll even open the table of contents so we can get a nice little view of that. Oh, my table of contents is not opening because, oh, interesting. Haha. Actually, I don't know why my table of contents is not opening. 1 second here. Something is going funky with my OBS, blocking this from drawing my table of contents. Let me just quickly test that real quick. Give me a moment. Thank you all for your patience while I troubleshoot this. One moment. Yeah. Oh, that's a funny thing. Pro tip. Apparently, when you are using OBS full screen and screen share functionality, the table of contents don't necessarily open. I feel like it's probably because OBS is drawing some sort of invisible layer over this. So I apologize for that. For now, we will just scroll through it as is. So anyway, the entire adventure is here in this sheet. We have everything you need. You can, of course, collapse the elements that you don't want to read afterwards. Oh, actually, let me just refresh this whole page because it's not letting me click on anything, which seems weird. Oh, okay, now it's working. I just needed to refresh. Must have been a weird thing. Again, thank you everybody for your patience. So you have your backstory, your adventure structure, your introduction that you can read to the party. We have little reference images and maps here, which I will get into more in a minute. We have everything you need to run this adventure all here in this sheet. And all you need to do as a GM is give it a brief skim before play and then just kind of run it as written. We have instructions and guidance to make even a brand new GM comfortable when running this adventure. And like I said, there's 2 parts to it. So there's part 1 here. And then you can, of course, grab part 2 here, which continues your adventure. So there's also a bunch of great materials in our asset tray for this room. Here, hang on. Let me go start the room so you can all see my face as well now that we've refreshed. Hello again. All right. So in the asset tray, we have all these amazing gameplay assets that you can use while you play as well. We have the full Cabin in the Glade adventure. So just what we just showed on the sheets on the journal side over there on the left, we also have it in PDF form. So if you are somebody who prefers to read your RPG content, offline or in PDF form, and you don't want to just have it in the journal, or you want to have that as a second component to augment your understanding, you can, of course, just read the PDF. Let's zoom that out real quick. And we have designed a full free starter adventure for D&D 5e. And you can enjoy this whole PDF that has everything you need, all the information about the adventure itself, stat blocks, encounters, everything to run this. So, like I said, available in both your journal and in PDF form. We also have all this great imagery that goes along with the adventure, so that as you are playing and your group encounters the cabin for the first time, you can say, okay, as you're explaining to the party what they see, you can then show them this reference image. You can say, here's the cabin, and here we are, da, 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 da. And you are describing this to your party as they're exploring the cabin, or they have an encounter with our Feywild cat here. So when they have this encounter, you might want to bring this up for them, and then they have a reference again visually for what they're encountering here. And we also have all of the maps for this as well. So as I said, on Roll, we have a very intentionally minimalist map system. We don't have like a whole fog of war system and whatnot. And we've actually designed Cabin in the Glade to kind of embrace this. So Cabin in the Glade is really intended to be played theater of the mind, and the map is really more a reference for just basic location of like, oh, okay, I kind of know where I am. Oh, okay, we're hanging out over near the well. Oh, we're over here near the cabin exterior. Players can, of course, like draw on the map if they want, that kind of stuff. And you have all of these different layers. But of course, if you did want to use these in a more like tactical map, traditional D&D encounter sort of way. You certainly could. You could put tokens on them. You could download them just like all the other files that are in here, and you could do with them as you wish. But like I said, we have all these starter materials in here. So again, our goal here is to provide you as a game master and your players the most minimal prep way to get started and have your first adventure together here on Roll through Cabin in the Glade. So whether you're starting a fresh blank D&D room like the room we just showed previously, or you're starting a pre-gen adventure with Cabin in the Glade, we now have 2 really great 5e supported rooms here on Roll for you to enjoy. So that's kind of everything D&D related. Let's go back to our dashboard real quick. And I'm going to take a quick pause. Okay, and we're going to show you a little bit about Homeworld. So similarly to what we have done for Dungeons and Dragons and 5e, our goal with Homeworld is once again to be the easiest place for you to get started running your first or next game. That has always been our objective with Roll. We really believe that, again, our platform should minimize the friction between your intent to play and then your ability to play with your friends. So let's check out this Homeworld Revelations room that we created in partnership with our friends over at Modifius. We're very excited to be working with them. So we launched this Homeworld room. I'm going to call this Homies of the Worlds, because, I don't know, I'm cheeky and I have a millennial sense of humor. And again, we can skip that invite flow for now. So here's our beautiful Homeworld room. I'm quite partial to this one because I love space stuff. We have a couple of pre-gen characters here that are associated with the Homeworld Quick Start Adventure. And we have a whole list of additional augmented sheets that you can use when playing your game. So for example, let's see, we'll just take a look here. You have, again, your pre-gen characters, so your party can just pick a pre-generated character to play as. But we also have things for example, as a GM, we have a momentum and threat tracker, which allows you to track the momentum and threat mechanics of the game as a game master and as a party, including also all the quick rules reference for the various ways that those mechanics are used. Once again, you can kind of open the table of contents and snap between them. You can also minimize the ones that you don't care about. So you're like, I know what those are. I don't need those right now. That kind of thing. We also have a blank sheet for ships. So if you want to create custom ships for Homeworld, we have a blank sheet for that. We, of course, have a blank character sheet. So if you don't want to use one of the pre-gen characters and you want to create a fresh character, we have that. And we also have a bunch of these quick start ships and quick start NPCs that are associated with, as you can see here in the asset tray, all these amazing materials. So we have all these great reference images, once again, high-res imagery pulled direct from the quick start. So everything that you as a game master are referencing in the quick start adventure is also here in your asset tray, imagery that you can pull up again for your party. And the quick start itself is right here. This is a free quick start from Modifius. It is designed to let you jump right into your first Homeworld adventure. And if you are a Homeworld fan like me, big fan of the games, you will recognize this adventure as the origin story at the beginning of the very first Homeworld prequel game, which is Deserts of Karak. So we can open this in a new window if we would like and wait for that to load up. And again, we have the entire PDF here at our fingertips, everything you need, full quick start from Modifius. You could run your next Homeworld game literally today. And if we go back here, we also, of course, have more info about the character pregens, but every single piece of information that's in these character pregen PDF is also in the character sheets themselves over here in your journal. But let's say, once again, you're a game master and you're going through this PDF and you're trying to set up the encounters and you don't want to have to keep going back and referencing this to know every single NPC and ship. We have made a sheet for everything. So there is a sheet in here for every ship you will encounter in the Quick Start Adventure. There is a sheet in here for every type of NPC in the Quick Start Adventure. We have all of these here that you can jump between. And so again, as a game master, you can just pull those up and you can be like, oh, okay, great. I've got a reference for this ship now. I can play that. Wonderful. And like I said, let me just quickly start this video again real quick. And like I said, this is designed to be the easiest and fastest way for you to get started in your first Homeworld game. And so look out for more rooms like this coming from us very, very, very soon for additional Modiphius titles and additional titles across the RPG industry. We are super excited for the rest of this summer and into the rest of this year and all of the great games that we are going to be able to support and play with you all. And so that was it. We had D&D 5e, importing your D&D Beyond sheets on roll. We had your free starter adventure, Cabin in the Glade, available now on roll and a whole room set up to play it. And we had your quick start room for Homeworld, including all the materials you need to run the quick start and all the assets that you need to augment your play and have a great time with your friends. We also showed you today screen share using Owlbear Rodeo as our map augmentation for our gameplay. And that's about it. So thanks you everyone for joining us. This was a nice quick stream today. I hope you all had a great time. And if you haven't already, please check out the Roll Fan Discord. I will drop a link to it in the chat just now because I assume that many of you who are watching this are probably already Discord members, but just in case you aren't, let me just paste this here in the chat for you. There you go. Just in case you aren't, go ahead and check us out at that Discord link right there. There's also, the Discord is linked to from the Roll homepage near the bottom of the page on our site. Please stay in touch with us. Let us know what you think of these updates that we've made to our platform. You can always reach us at support@playroll.com.